The technological levels of fleet management software continues to advance at staggering levels, and fleet operators are seen broadening their focus towards interactivity in 2013. That to ensure that their clients' needs are met. David Molapo, who's head of fleet management, personal and business banking at Standard Bank, joins us for a look at innovation in the fleet industry now. Thanks so much, David, for joining us this morning.
Isha, thank you very much, David.
Well, we've been talking about during the course of the show, and for the longest while now, rising costs acting as a big pressure point for business, and cost cutting very much on the agenda of businesses worldwide. What's likely to be the key focus in the fleet management industry within this operating environment?
Well, I think if I can start off by saying that regardless of whether or not you're your typical, let's say, mom and pop shop with 2 or 3 vehicles in your fleet, or whether you're a big corporate with 1,000 or 10,000 vehicles, at the end of the day, it's all about costs. It's all about your cash flow. Okay, so from a fleet operating point of view, basically, you need to ensure that the necessary tools are in place in order for you to be able to see that through. So basically, gone are the days, in essence, whereby we get a fleet report and it shows your transactions at the end of the month and there's this hard copy of it. People now want real time. They want it live. They want to be able to log on to their website and be able to say what's taken place, where are my vehicles filling up, what repairs need to be done, are they being authorized or they're not being authorized, where are my vehicles at this particular point in time.
But David, that technology has been available for some time, at least a decade, to be able to do that. So what is the penetration of it? I mean, if you took on a scale of 0 to 100, there might be a couple of big companies who are operating between 90 and 100 in terms of using all this. Where are we in terms of using the available technology to cut those costs? How far have we got to go?
I think we've seen a lot of growth within these products. There's a lot of innovation that has taken place. So from a basic point of view, if you take a look at the basic reporting tools that are currently in place, yes, they've been around for decades. Yeah. But if you see kind of the live systems now, that one-on-one, being able to log on to a website and actually manage that process, that's more, that is extremely new. So from a penetration point of view, I'd say probably about 70 to 80% penetrating within the market right now. So there's still a lot of scope to actually grow this, and there's still a lot of scope to raise the awareness with fleet managers within this field.
Of course, we've spoken to the likes of a mixed telematics within the company, within the the corporate environment, which is a vehicle tracking and recovery company, but saying that they're seeing these shifts where they've got to become more innovative with their products down the line as companies become more focused on the management of their fleets. Having said that, technological advances aside and considerations aside, David, you've also got to look at companies re-looking at their strategy. I mean, being highlighted in this report is the benefits of full maintenance leasing as opposed to acquiring vehicles or buying vehicles. Take us through that.
Well, I think to lease or to purchase a vehicle, I mean,
but
that's
an old argument, but now it must be looked at in a new way?
No, it must be looked at in a new way. If we take a look at specifically within the fleet world, basically, if you're going to run your business and you have, let's say, 100 to 1,000 vehicles, why would you actually want to own the vehicles as opposed to rent them at a fixed cost over a fixed period of time? Therefore, from the management of your cash flow, you know on a monthly basis what you're going to pay at the end of term as well. Then basically you don't have to worry about the disposal of your vehicle. So it just makes more common sense as well from a cash management point of view as well. So yes, within the personal market, it's an old argument. Should I lease or should I rent? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And we're saying that more from a business point of view, that I think there's a lot of scope to actually grow this market within the business sector. And we've seen that around as well.
To what extent, though, I mean, is it a very fine balancing act? Because you've got, the vehicle industry becoming a lot more innovative itself. So the kind of products that are coming to the surface a lot more cost efficient, for example, that being highlighted when we see vehicle sales numbers come through on a monthly basis, and that making it more affordable to actually purchase.
More affordable to actually purchase, but what's the value of your asset at the end of the term? Because again, from a fleet operational point of view, there are various metrics and variables that you have to take into account before you purchase a vehicle for your fleet. Where is it going to be used? What type of terrain? What type of vehicles? What type of usage? So there's a lot of variables that you actually have to take into account. And at the end of the day, you have this vehicle, how much is it worth at that point in time? And what are you going to do with it? Are you going to trade it in? Are you going to on-sell it? And so on. So taking into account all these variables.
But it's all about the price, isn't it? Because as long as you can be persuaded that all those variables taken into account, you're going to get a better price, than if you
all
buy.
things being equal, it goes down to bottom line,
So that's the essence
to
of
pricing.
Something
Yes.
that interested me too, and you pointed this out in the statement that you made, where the hybrids, the petrol and the diesel,
Yes.
I mean, this would seem to be, you've got under pressure to do green vehicles and so on,
Yeah.
but resistance to this.
There's been quite a lot of resistance. Obviously, whenever something is new to the market, there's obviously that resistance. If we were to take a look at new vehicle sales in 2012 within the US, Europe, and SA, and as far as hybrid vehicles are concerned, the penetration in the US was about 2.79%, whereas in Europe it was about 0.7%, and in SA 0.15%. But that's coming off an extremely low base compared to our counterparts in North America and Europe. So there's still a lot of time basically for us to get our mindsets around, okay, there are these green vehicles, and in the personal markets we saw from 2011 to 2012 a growth of about 23% with green vehicles within SA, but again coming from a very, very low base. Whether or not that will translate to the business sector or not is a different issue, because once again there are lots of other variables that you need to take into account.